Hello, and welcome to Back to the Energy Basics, actions, programs for residential customers to save money, hosted by Cub of Wisconsin. The session will be recorded. Next slide, please. We would like to thank our promotional partners for helping us spread the word about today's program. Thank you, Be Local Wisconsin, Sustainable Business Council, and U.S. Green Building Council. Cub is excited to share this continuing formal program for residential customers. I welcome you to this event. Next slide, please. My name is Richard Stork. I am the Director of Outreach and Engagement at Citizens Utility Board of Wisconsin, CUB. First of all, let's start with some housekeeping. This event is being recorded and will be shared with all attendees and posted on CUB's website, www.cubwi.org. If you have any questions, please post them in the chat and specifically to the host and panelists. Bear in mind that your questions will be viewable by all if you put them in the chat. If you have a specific question for a speaker, please feel free to direct chat it to them. If you'd like to use the closed captioning feature, there is a button on the bottom of your screen, CC Live Transcript. Be sure to turn that on to use the feature. We have placed everybody on mute. If you have any questions or comments, please place them in the chat. The next slide, please. CUB is a nonprofit 501c3 organization managed by a staff of 6 with oversight from a volunteer board of directors. We are the independent voice of Wisconsin residential and small business ratepayers, advocating for fair and reasonable utility rates before the PSC, the courts, and the legislature. Our work has 2 areas of focus: regulatory work and education outreach. This educational webinar today is part of our educational and outreach work. To that end, we will be hosting 2 other educational opportunities this fall. The first, Small Business Energy Management 101. That'll be on October 1st. This webinar is designed to help Wisconsin small business utility customers save money and provide them with tools to help them manage their energy use. CUB is also presenting an in-person event on November 4th in La Crosse in partnership with the Sustainable Business Council's annual conference. We're excited to host the Upper Midwest Energy Forum. The Energy Forum will be a deep dive into the evolving energy landscape, designed to equip business leaders and professionals with the knowledge and strategies to navigate critical challenges in the evolving energy landscape. Attendees will leave with actionable solutions and insights to help guide their business decision-making and their operations moving forward. The next slide, please. CUB is your customer advocate. We've been around for 45 years. We were founded in 1979, the first state in the country to create a residential nonprofit advocating for utility customers at the places where these decisions are made regarding monopoly utilities. The goal in creating CUB was to level the playing field of influence where these key decisions are made. It's all about fairness. And since 2006, we've been able to save customers $3.8 billion, $40 million in 2023, and $569 million in the past 6 years. Our focus is on fairness, balance, and affordability. Next slide, please. So we advocate for all Wisconsin small utility customers, from individual citizens to small businesses and farmers. We advocate for fair, safe, and reliable utility service across rural and urban areas of Wisconsin. Next slide, please. So we have a unique model. In this map, the states that are colored in purple, they have advocates for residential customers in either 1 or 2 state agencies. The states that you see in green also have 1 or 2 state agencies, and they have a CUB advocating for them. Now look closely, and you'll see 3 states that have no state agency and a cub only. Down in the south, Louisiana, to the west, Oregon, and the upper Midwest, Wisconsin, us. So we are the only residential and small business utility advocate in Wisconsin. Next slide, please. Our primary area of focus, our work, is at the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin. Every year, two or three of the large investor-owned utilities file rate cases to adjust their prices. If they want to build power plants or power lines, we've seen big surges in applications to build more, build more, build more. And that's how they make money. They get a return on equity for building and for having new projects. So our role is consumer protection and fairness. And we do these in policy and tariff cases at the PSC. Next slide, please. So in terms of rate cases, it's another busy year here at Cub with rate cases and also increased talk of data centers across Wisconsin. So those investor-owned utilities, Madison Gas and Electric, Alliant Energy, and Xcel Energy filed rate cases in April of 2025, asking for increases of more than $450 million in 2026 and 2027. $450 million is simply far too much to ask, with customers concerned more and more about inflation. Part of the increase request is even higher profits over and above the generous returns these utilities already receive. Throughout the year, Cub scrutinized these cases closely with an eye on affordability, and we call on the PSC to stop the utilities from raising profits even further. They are just already way too high. We're also concerned about the impact these rate increases will have on people who are struggling to make ends meet, especially with Congress considering proposals to eliminate $7 billion in energy assistance and weatherization programs for the poor. The next slide, please. As you can see here, while we've won victories for residential and small business customers, there is still much to be done. Saving $381 million in 2024 and $1.3 billion in the last 10 years is a step in the right direction. However, utility schemes to generate more and more profit continue forward, and we remain vigilant. Next slide, please. Here, our regulatory strategist, economics and finance, Dr. Steve Keim, points out regulators have been giving utilities higher returns. Why? Reducing these guaranteed profit rates several tenths of a percent can add up to big savings for customers. Next slide, please. Data centers. Concerning data centers, they gobble up extreme amounts of energy. We Energies and Alliant Energy are looking to spend perhaps billions on energy resources to serve data centers in Racine County, Port Washington, as well as Beaver Dam and in Vienna, a rural part of Dane County. Next slide, please. Data centers are in this dynamic period where there's a lot of hype. Before we build power plants to serve them, we must get a better grip on how many data centers will be built and how customers will be protected from seeing their own bills rise as a result of this AI-driven power surge. Next slide, please. The utilities love to build. They can make incredible profits on new power plants for years to come. However, this risks spending billions on natural gas plants that end up not being needed and sticking customers with those costs. Saddling homeowners, renters, and small businesses with extra costs isn't the answer. The tech giants must pay their fair share too. Protecting customers from unreasonable expenses is job one at Cub. Next slide, please. Above all, this period of fever over the prospect of surging power demand shines a spotlight on the importance Wisconsin policymakers must place on a better planned out energy future. To that end, Wisconsin should join other states and adopt integrated resource planning processes that craft a coherent, well thought out roadmap for the energy transition. Without that, our energy system is careening down the highway without the benefit of GPS or even a map. Next slide, please. Please take a moment to capture this QR code. Um, this allowed you to sign up to receive our newsletters, where we share important information about rate cases, as well as educational information to help Wisconsin-based residential and small business utility customers. Next slide, please. Today's discussion is designed to empower Wisconsin residential utility customers with knowledge and actionable strategies to help them save money. The webinar will offer a comprehensive understanding of utility-related issues, from foundational concepts to practical energy-saving measures and programs. It is my pleasure to highlight our two panelists today. First up will be Lisa Giesenbauer, President of Evolution Marketing and Chair of Be Local Wisconsin. She'll be followed by David Erickson, Energy Advisor with Focus on Energy. Hello, Lisa.
Hello, Richard, and thank you for having me here today. So, I'm going to talk with you all about energy conservation behaviors and actions you can take to save money. Next slide, please. We're going to start with why energy efficiency matters. So this may be a review for some of you, but this also may include some new information. So energy use is one of the largest contributors to environmental impact. So that means that small changes can make a big impact when it comes to energy use. In Wisconsin, over 50% of homes use energy for heating and cooling. This means high utility bills, especially in extreme weather. How many of you, please put this in the chat, have upgraded to a high efficiency furnace or AC unit in the last couple of years or even this year alone? Uh, because we're going to talk about some things that I've done at my home in a little bit. And one of the things that I had done is really put in a high efficiency furnace, and that's made a big difference. I'm hoping that some of our attendees have been able to take these steps as well. Next slide. Okay, so why energy efficiency matters, especially here in Wisconsin. First off, Wisconsin is not energy independent. Unlike some states that produce their own energy, we have no fossil fuel resources of our own. That means we spend about 14.4 billion a year importing energy from other states and even other countries. And what that means is we're importing coal, as an example, to burn in our coal-fired plants. On top of that, Wisconsin is one of the top 15 states for high energy costs in the US. In fact, Wisconsin is ranked second highest in the Midwest for utility rates. The good news is that we have control over how much energy we use. By adopting energy efficient habits, both at home and at work, we can save money by lowering our utility bills, reduce strain on the power grid, making energy more reliable for everyone. And here's a fun fact that in 2025, our grid today is less reliable than it was in 2020, or I'm sorry, in 2000 or in 1990. So what's happened is more and more things are tapping into the grid, and that's causing reliability issues. I don't know about you, but we've had many power outages at my home, and many power outages in big urban areas, and I live in a rural place. So that's really an issue is grid reliability, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later on when Tom Content joins us. The other thing is we want to minimize our environmental impact by using less fossil fuels. We also want to save money. So the less resources we use, the less costly our utilities are. Next slide, please. Some cost saving things that we can do in the Midwest. One of the simple changes is we can switch to LED light bulbs. Cost savings. LED light bulbs use 75% less energy than traditional bulbs, and they last up to 25% longer. This means fewer replacements and lower electricity bills. There's other things such as environmental impact. Using less energy means fewer power plant emissions, which again also helps to reduce air pollution, which if you've been following what's happened this summer with all of the smog and smoke from Canada coming into Wisconsin, that just adds to the air pollution issues that we already have. And then it can also help increase your home value. So energy efficiency upgrades like LED bulbs, smart thermostats, and energy efficient appliances can actually make a home more attractive to buyers and increase the property value. If you have questions about that, we can discuss that in the Q&A later. There's all kinds of data that talks about how especially first-time homeowners are buying new homes, they want to have a home that's energy efficient. Next slide, please. So we're going to talk about a couple practices. So these are some energy saving practices that we could all do. We can do, and many of these things we can do both at home and or at work. First thing, turn off our computers, lights, and equipment at the end of the day. I know a lot of people are like, my computer's in sleep mode. It's fine. No, when it's in sleep mode, it's still drawing energy. So you want to turn your computers off. You want to minimize natural light. I'm sorry, you want to maximize natural light. If you have a window, take advantage of daylighting instead of using overhead lights. Or what I'd like to talk about is task lighting. You can get a small light on your desk for desktop lighting and put an LED bulb in that light. You also want to use smart power strips. These automatically cut off power to devices that aren't in use, helping eliminate phantom energy. The power electronics use even when they're turned off. So if you're not familiar with phantom energy, yeah, it's real and it does happen. These are a couple quick and easy habits, but they all add up. Imagine if everyone did these things, how much money we could save. And then we're going to go to the next slide, which I think you just did. Thanks, Leah. Here are a couple more things that are energy saving practices you can do at home specifically. Unplug chargers. I know we live in a day and age where everyone has a smart device. When you're not using your chargers, unplug them. Or Dave's going to talk about special strips later. Plug them into those strips so that you're not pulling phantom energy. Adjust your thermostat setting. Depending upon when you're at your home, you can either lower the heat, depending upon the time of the year, lowering the heat a few degrees in the winter or raising the air conditioning up a bit in the summer will make a big difference, especially in the winter time. I don't know if you know this, but here's a fun fact. If you put a sweater on, that will raise your body temperature by 4 degrees. So at my house, we always wear sweaters or jackets or fleeces in the wintertime because we want to save on that energy cost. And then if you have not upgraded to Energy Star certified appliances, when it comes time to replace old and existing washers, refrigerators, TVs, could even be your computer, you can definitely cut down on your energy use by replacing those old devices or mechanical items with new Energy Star rated materials. Next slide, please. For those of you who are not familiar with the Energy Star program, this is what the logo looks like. Can you put it in the chat if you're familiar with this? And thank you to whoever told us that you installed a new cold climate heat pump. That is wonderful. And I'm assuming your cold climate heat pump was Energy Star rated. But can everybody put into the chat if you're familiar with the Energy Star logo, if you've seen this, or if you have any devices in your home with it on it? I see a thumbs up. That's great. So the Energy Star logo, if you're ever shopping for appliances, this is something you want to look for. The Energy Star program helps customers find products that meet strict energy efficiency standards. Appliances, electronics, and even some building materials with this label are designed to use less energy, which means lower utility bills and a reduced environmental impact. Beyond just looking for the label, you can also use the interactive Energy Star website to compare models and find the most energy efficient options before making a purchase. I've done this. I know the website. It's great. You can put in refrigerator. They'll show you all the different types of refrigerators. Super useful. All right, next slide, please. Now I'm going to put on my hat of being a homeowner. So as you can see in this image, here's a picture of my home in the wintertime. Um, so as somebody who is working in sustainability in my day-to-day operations or in my day-to-day life, I also strive in my personal life to bring sustainability and or the conservation of natural resources into my home life. Therefore, when my family and I moved into our current home, pictured here in 2018, we made a priority to put our knowledge of energy conservation and green remodeling into action at our new home. Basic home information. Our home was built in 1972, and it is a 4 bedroom, 2 bath home that's approximately 2,000 square feet. And we're located in the rural village of Neshota, so we're in western Waukesha County. You can see in this image that the house is on a hill and that it's a ranch and that it's wintertime. We bought this house with the understanding that we would need to be doing some remodeling, specifically within the interior part of the home, in order to make it function for our family needs. We moved in February and we began remodeling in May. Next slide. So after we completed our internal renovations, which occurred from May to December of 2018, and in those renovations, they included replacing all of our mechanicals, all of our kitchen appliances, HVAC system, water heater, water softener, washer, dryer, all of them with Energy Star rated appliances. We also moved walls. We replaced a load-bearing wall with a beam. And because our house was built in the 70s, it had no light, we added 26 canned LED lights throughout the whole property. After we were done with doing all of those things, we had an energy audit done by one of the Focus on Energy trade allies. And the score that our home received at that point was a 5. What that meant is that our home was right in the middle. 50% of the homes in the country were more efficient than our home, and 50% or 49%, whatever, were less efficient. We were right in that middle. Okay. So we decided then, following that energy assessment. Hi, Tom. Following that energy assessment, we decided to review all of the different notes that came with the assessment that told us things that we needed to do to make our home more efficient. And so in 2021 and 2022, we were able to do the rest of the things on that list, and which included several DIY projects, so do-it-yourself projects that we did. And those were smaller actions. And then there were some larger actions, such as replacing our aging roof, as well as adding solar to our home, solar PV system, Generac battery backup. We also had our home air sealed and insulated, so we had more insulation added to our attic. Those were all things that we had professionals do, and they were all trade allies from the Focus on Energy list. And after all of those things were done, so I called it, we completed eco home project renovations. Our home energy score went from a 5 to a 10. And what that meant is by, let's just say, April of 2022, our home score now was a number 10. And that meant we're in the top 10 most energy efficient homes in the nation. Now you might think, wow, like sounds like Lisa put a lot of money into her home. And yes, I did, and we'll talk about that in a couple minutes. Uh, but by doing these actions in a really strategic manner, throughout this process, I've ended up having 5 different home energy audits done. Um, since moving into this house. And each time the audits were very useful and they gave me tips and strategies. And also, I really wanted to ensure that I was doing the right things. So instead of making a guess that maybe my home needed new windows, I looked at my energy audit and said, you know what, you need to cap the blocks in your basement. So we took actions like that. So those audits could be really helpful and useful. I'm going to also share in the chat a link because we detailed our journey of all the things that we had done in 2021 and 2022. We detailed our journey and we worked with Oconomowoc High School students and they detailed the whole thing. So we have a story on the Evolution Marketing website about those actions in both English and in Spanish. Okay, next slide, please. So from this next image, you can see the new white roof that we put on the home. It was an eco-friendly roof that actually pulls moisture out of the air and helps to reduce smog. And it's made out of recycled rubber tires. And then in addition to that, like I said, we had air sealing done. We changed some of the venting around our home because it was a 100-year-old home. We added a 10.2 kilowatt solar PV system and a 17 kilowatt battery system. What you can see in the image there are 30 Tesla Q panels, and then our battery system and inverter are both through Generac. So next slide. Now in this image, you can see our solar installer. That's Patrick from Current Electric in Milwaukee. And Patrick is standing next to the Generac PWR cell, which is our inverter. And the picture on the left-hand side, you can see that there's a gentleman pointing at a utility box. That's our second utility box, which means that if we were to lose power at my home, which does seem to happen quite a bit now, due to grid unreliability, my battery will kick in, and so we'll have a backup battery running. And so in that panel box, that electrical outlet box, that allows us to choose which options we want. And I definitely wanted my well pump to be able to run if we lost power. All right, next slide. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the snapshot of, I'm going to give you what it costs for the things that we did at our home, and then also what we're now paying on our utility bills. So as I said, this work was done in 21 and 22. At that time, we had invested about $45,000 into the solar and PV system and the battery backup. And then it was about 27 to $30,000 for our new roof, and then about 3,500 to 4,000 for the air sealing and insulation. Maybe it was five when it was all said and done. So we had two different air sealer and insulation companies. So basically, about $80,000 we invested into our home. And what does that look like now? What are the ramifications of that? So we did what was there's a thing called a green mortgage. And so we had taken out a green mortgage on our home. So we refinanced basically our home and took out $80,000 to pay for these things to be done. There was a tax credit at the time of 26%. So we took the money, the 26%. Well, okay, this was the projection of what we were to do, and now we have since done this. So we took our tax credit and we took that money that came back to us, as well as the monthly savings from our energy use, and we're using that money to pay down our mortgage. It's estimated that instead of paying down our mortgage in 30 years, we will pay down our mortgage in it's 18 years. And I guess I didn't put that on here, but it's our anticipation that basically we're going to have our whole mortgage paid off in 18 years instead of 30 years. What we're paying now, this is from last year in 2024, the total amount of money we paid to We Energies for both natural gas and electricity was $2,266.96. Our monthly average is $189. And that includes in that all of the fees that come along with, and I have to actually pay for two electric boxes because we have a solar system. And the amount of energy we purchased from We Energies was 9,504 kilowatt hours, which is roughly 792 kilowatt hours average a month. So from this, you can see that I think we're doing well with our system. You also need to understand that not only is our home running for my family, my business is located out of the home, and we have a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle that is charging at the home. And I had an all-electric vehicle previously used to charge here. So 50 to 60% of the energy that we're actually using, in addition to what you're seeing from We Energies, is generated on site with solar. It depends. Some years it could be 65%, some years it's 58%, but between that is what we're generating on site ourselves. So that's building to our grid helping us to be more reliable and resilient. Next slide, please. So I just want to cover a couple things that people may not think about if you have solar at your home. Um, if you have solar, I want to encourage you to run your appliances and charge your electric vehicle in the daytime. I've had many conversations with homeowners who have put solar on, and this is just one of those things. If you don't know, you don't know. And so that's why I'm sharing it today. Now, if you're tied to the grid and you don't have solar and you don't have any type of battery backup, you're going to want to run your appliances and charge your vehicles based on what I'm calling is time of use rate. So I'd like to encourage everyone to look at their utilities time of use rate plans and see when is the best time that you can get the best rate from the utility to operate your home. So it could be at night, it just depends. Each utility is different. But I want you to check into that so that way you know when to run your appliances so that it's the least expensive for you. Next slide, please. When you buy a home for the first time, I really wish there was a class or a book that someone could read. Whether you become a condo owner, townhouse owner, or home ownership, it requires a lot of knowledge about home mechanicals. So what I'm going to share right now are some things that we should all know and things that I've learned over time in operating my home. So a lot of people talk about furnace filters. They are important, and you should be changing your furnace filters at least once a year, but realistically, at least twice a year. If, for example, you like to burn candles or essential oils in your home, you're going to want to change that furnace filter quarterly. If you've had new construction done on your home, you're going to want to change the furnace filter once the construction is done because dust gets into the air. If you have a really bad summer like we've had of Canadian wildfire smoke, that wildfire smoke gets into the air inside your homes. So seriously, think about how often you change your furnace filter. And then I just want to remind everyone that not all HVAC filters are the same. So when you're looking for a furnace filter, you want to look for the MERV, which stands for Minimum Efficiency Reporting Value. And this is a newer rating system. And you want to get the furnace filter that has the highest MERV for you. And I'm going to just drop into the chat right now an article that talks more about this because this is a great resource for folks. Um, and then it unpacks like what does this mean and what you want to look for. And there's also a great article here from Wirecutter that I'm going to put in the chat as well to talk about furnace filters as well. The other thing you want to think about is if you're not having maintenance done on your mechanical systems yearly, you really should think about that. Now, I'm not saying you have to pay someone to do that. These could be things that you're doing yourself, but you really want to put a maintenance schedule in place so that you are making sure that everything is running properly. And then the last thing is really using self-cleaning features. So today there's ways to self-clean a dishwasher, a wash machine. A lot of the new technology built into these machines are very efficient and they have these self-cleaning features. Use the features, read your owner's manual to learn how to make your equipment operate the most energy effective way possible. Next slide, please. So I've touched on briefly the fact that Focus on Energy is amazing and they have great resources and tools for you. And Dave is going to talk more about that in just a minute. But I wanted to share a screenshot from their website. And this is the IRA home section of the Focus on Energy website. And this is where it talks about home energy audits. And I'm actually putting into the chat link to their website. And this walks you through the process. So there's a lot of programs that are available right now. So I really am going to encourage everyone to take advantage now. Okay, then the next slide. Oh, and by the way, those programs didn't exist when I did all this work at my home. So all the things I've done at my home, if I would have done them last year or this year, I could have taken advantage of all these IRA rebates that I could not when I did the work. The last thing I want to point out is that if you're not sure where to begin, on the Focus Energy website, they have an online home energy assessment tool. You can do that. You could participate in that, use that tool to help guide you. And then if you haven't had an assessment done or it was over 10 years ago, I really encourage everyone to go get an energy audit done. Don't throw spaghetti at the wall. Get an audit or assessment done, find out what your home needs, and then make decisions that way instead of just saying, oh, I think it's my windows, because sometimes we're making there's just things we don't know. So we want to turn to the experts and get their assistance. And the last thing is don't wait. There are many tax credits that are ending this year. And so to take advantage of all those, I encourage you to take action now. Okay, next slide. It is now my pleasure to turn the program over to David from Focus on Energy. Take it away, David.
Hey, thank you, Lisa. And thank you everyone for taking a little time out of your day to attend this little luncheon seminar. So my name is David Erickson. I am an energy advisor with Focus on Energy in Wisconsin. I specialize in the multifamily building residential um, branch of Focus on Energy. Next slide, please. So the agenda I'm going to cover today, we're going to talk about, what is the Focus on Energy program. We are going to go through free energy saving packets for renters. We're going to talk about the online marketplace, and we're going to talk about how you can partner with your landlord to improve efficiencies in your building. So, Focus on Energy. This is a statewide utility funded program that offers incentives and rebates for performing energy efficient upgrades in your house. So this covers the entire state of Wisconsin through all participating power utility companies. The biggest one is in Southeast Wisconsin. We work with We Energies on a ton of projects. So what do we really do? So we help Wisconsin residents and businesses manage their rising energy costs by switching to efficient products and mechanicals in your house. You're going to lower your utility bill just naturally because you're using less energy. And we're going to help pay for some of those upgrades through incentives and rebates. We also provide education and information on energy efficient products in the marketplace. We promote in-state economic development, usually because when you say, oh man, I got to get a new furnace for this winter heating season coming up, you're going to call a local contractor in your area. So all that money is going to stay in your direct local economy. We're helping protect our environment by using less fossil fuels and becoming more efficient. And we're helping to keep on top of the growing demand, as the other speakers mentioned, in Wisconsin, the high demand for electricity and natural gas. So the more efficient you can become in your house, the less total quantity of energy you'll require. Next slide, please. So energy efficiency. Uh, what can we do as renters? Some of you may not be in Lisa's situation where you own your own home and you can install this great equipment. Some of you might just be renting a unit and you can't determine if your roof and attic insulation is going to get worked on this year. But there are still plenty of steps you can do to directly lower your utility bill month by month. And by doing so, you can also increase the comfort in your home. Next slide, please. So one of the tips you can do is setting your thermostat to a higher temperature than you would think you would probably normally set it at in summer. And in those the winter heating season, setting it to about 68, uh, just to improve overall usage in your house. You may notice like, okay, it's 78 in summer, it still feels a little warm in here. Well, then you can adjust it down just a few degrees at a time. A smart thermostat is an excellent way to increase energy efficiency in your house because the smart thermostats actually learn your patterns and can detect when you're home and when you're not home, and when you usually like it a little bit cooler compared to when it's not absolutely required. We do have rebates and instant discounts on smart thermostats at our marketplace, all located at the focusonenergy.com website. Next slide, please. You can adjust your fan settings if you have a ceiling fan in your bedroom, living room, anywhere in your home. So during summer months, we want to use the fan to move the air downwards. So that would be in a counterclockwise motion. The air will be hitting you and you'll be cooling down then. Some fans you can actually reverse it in winter to distribute the warm heat coming through your ducted system, or maybe you have a steam heat in your house. You can help distribute that by running a fan in the opposite direction. And remember, fans cool people, not rooms. So be sure to get in the habit of turning off the fan when you leave the room. I know I was a bad culprit of this. I would just leave the fan running and then come back an hour later. So in the summer, one way to help keep humidity out of your house, after you take a shower in your bathroom, run your bathroom fan if you have it for at least 30 minutes. This will help remove that excess humidity created in your shower, and it'll prevent it from spreading throughout the rest of your house. Next slide, please. A very easy one to do is using curtains and blinds. In the summer, you can close your blinds and curtains on the sunny side of your house. So if you're in Wisconsin, it's most likely if you have a big southern exposure in your house. Now, the sun feels really good in winter, but it can get excessively warm in summer. So in the winter months, we're going to do just the opposite. We're going to make sure we have all of our blinds and curtains open to really let that sun naturally warm the room. Another quick tip for cooking in the summer months, try to avoid using your oven unless absolutely necessary. Just another great excuse to fire the grill up outside. Let some of that heat dissipate naturally instead of in your kitchen. Another thing that can help is applying window film in winter months. It helps add a barrier between the outside temperature and the inside temperature in your house. Even if you have new windows installed, if you have like metal frame windows, that metal is going to transmit the cold air from the outside, and just naturally it's going to leak into the inside part of the house. So window weatherization film can really help in that. Next slide, please. Some lighting tips. So we can proactively replace non-LED bulbs if you still have some old like compact fluorescent ones, that you're still using. They do draw naturally more energy than an LED bulb does. So switching those out, they will help. You'll see savings immediately on your utility bill because you're using less energy. very straightforward, turn off the lights when they're not in use. Just a great habit to get into, especially if you have children running around your house. They like to leave all the lights on all the time. So try to get those habits dialed in. Task lighting, as Lisa mentioned, instead of turning on like the overhead light in a room, if you're working at a desk in a corner, just have one specific light in that corner that you can turn on. And then again, trying to use natural light as much as possible through opening curtains and blinds during the day. You can keep your overhead lights off. Next slide, please. So not all power strips are made the same. They're actually now in the marketplace smart power strips. So this is a great way to limit that phantom load power surge that's coming through. So the best example that Lisa pointed out earlier was like your cell phone charger. You're just leaving that plugged in, and then you put your phone on it from time to time, give it a little extra juice. But while you're not actively charging your phone, that cord is still drawing power. So the smart strip, if you have your charger plugged into this, the strip will automatically detect that it is not drawing the most power while the phone is charging, and it'll decrease significantly or even cut off any power to that device. So this is a great way to help eliminate waste, and it will also protect your equipment from electrical surges. Next slide, please. Some water tips. You can install sink aerators in both your kitchen and bathroom. This will help lower the flow rate and lower your overall water consumption usage. You can also switch to a low flow shower head to control the amount of water just coming out all at one time in the shower. So this is going to do two things. Number one, you're going to be using less water, so your water bill is going to go down. And then number two, especially in shower, you're using hot water, so your hot water heater is working all the time to keep that water at that temperature. So simply by using less hot water, you're going to lower your utility bills. And then also, if possible, reduce the length of your hot showers. Next slide, please. All right, we do have a list of tips for renters specifically on the Focus on Energy website, and that is available here at the link. Next slide, please. So one great way you can participate at no cost to you for energy efficiency in your apartment or home. You can order a free energy saving pack. This is probably what Focus on Energy is most well known for. So each year, each apartment or house, they can order one free energy pack a year delivered straight to you for free. They don't even charge you for shipping. So the packs change year to year, so you're always a little something different. So what we have on the screen right now are the three options for 2025. Two of them include a shower head. One has the arm on it, so you can take baths with it. But they're all excellent kits. Also, the one in the middle is more of a weatherization kit, so you can get some of that window film for free. If nothing else, just at least order one to get a few of these free light bulbs each year. Next slide, please. Also on the Focus on Energy website, we have an online marketplace full of energy efficient equipment. So many of these are priced very competitively with stores in the area, and they are all certified as high efficient pieces of equipment. So this ranges from things like the smart thermostats, water savers, weatherization kits like the insulation, window film, air quality. We have Energy Star rated air filters on there, the smart power strips, and then there's also a very wide variety of LED light bulbs available for purchase. Free shipping on all orders. And again, this is located right on the Focus on Energy website. Next slide, please. So if you are a renter, maybe you can't, well, you know, just tell your landlord, I want a new furnace because I want my utility bill to go down. Furnaces are expensive. So how can we, what's the solution to that? Well, you can partner with your building owner. Next slide, please. You can refer your landlord to a Focus on Energy representative, and an energy advisor will reach out to them and talk about different programs that they may be eligible for to help lower the cost of those upgrades. So typically in multifamily buildings, most of the upgrade options that we offer rebates and incentives on have to do with the heating and cooling system, insulation and air sealing in the building, water heating equipment, ventilation and controls, common area lighting, and even solar electric systems. So an energy advisor would talk through the different programs and incentives that are available to your landlord or building owner. Next slide, please. And if you have any questions about anything related to Focus on Energy, or you're just looking for, maybe a few more tips, please reach out to us at focusonenergy.com. You can also contact me specifically. I am located in the Milwaukee area and would be happy to help answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, David and Lisa. Our third panelist today, we have Cub's Executive Director. Please join me in welcoming Tom Content to this conversation. Tom, would you be able to update us on Cub activities?
Hi, can you hear me? Good to be with you. I'm just wanted to jump in and say hello from the state capitol, where I just participated in a panel on the energy transition and the future of energy in Wisconsin. And you can check that out on Wisconsin Eye, the C-SPAN of Wisconsin. Just look for Wisconsin Energy University. But we had speakers talking about the dramatic drop in the price of solar energy over the past 10 or more years. Speakers talking about the challenges of the energy transition, and speakers talk, and I got a chance to weigh in about the need for better planning as we look at the world of increased demand from data centers, because one data center can use up as much energy as an entire city. So it was an exciting opportunity for Cub to offer its perspective, and I'm glad to be here with you.
Thanks much, Tom. We're now going to move into the Q&A portion of the program. We invite you to ask any questions of our panelists. Please post them in the chat and specifically to the hosts and panelists. And as we wait for folks, wait for you to place your questions into the chat, I'd like to kick it off. I'd like to ask each panelist, what is the first thing a residential utility customer can do today to save on their energy bills?
Go, David.
Sure. So definitely the best thing you could do right away, no cost to you, order a free energy pack from Focus on Energy. Like I said, you can order one per year, absolutely no cost to you. The only requirement is that your house is residing in a power utility company's service area that it participates with Focus on Energy, which is most in the state of Wisconsin.
Thanks, David. And from my perspective, get an energy assessment done or an energy audit, because there's lots of free options that exist out there, are low cost options. And I know, David, tell me there's a difference between the IRA home energy audits and a regular home energy audit. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
So on the Focus on Energy website, we have kind of the quick home energy assessment that you can do yourself. It just kind of identifies the equipment in your home and where you could improve upon there. hiring a professional energy modeling assessor to come out will give you a much thorough, in-depth report. They're going to do things like a blower door test and look at like duct leakage, things like that. So it's going to be very exact and very specific to calculate. There are some incentives available in the IRA program. Those are federally funded programs. We just touched on them briefly. Lisa touched on them briefly. But yeah, if you're interested, please reach out to an energy advisor. We can get you started on that track. But there are incentives available for certain income levels that completely cover the cost of a full home energy modeling assessment.
Or you can pay for it yourself like I did, and I believe I paid about $500, and I think it was well worth it because we definitely are saving a lot of money because of having the full energy modeling and audit done.
Thank you both so much. Really appreciate your insights on this, especially the energy assessment, which I would also like to echo is a great investment for your home, apartment, or condominium in order to save a lot of money. We would like to thank our panelists for sharing their insight today. Was wondering if there are any other questions in that we have in the chat or in the Q&A, and I'd like to address those if we could.
I'd like to thank Keep for sharing with us in the chat information about program they're doing. They have a Keep has recently developed one lesson and two activities to support Wisconsin's personal financial literacy requirements for high school graduation. We will be happy to share this information you're sharing with us following our webinar out with everyone, because this can help high school teachers and administrators in our network so that all high school kids understand how to read a utility bill. This is super important. Thank you so much, Keith, for sharing that with us. We will include in our notes.
Thank you
I
very
don't see any
much.
other questions, so.
Links to the presentations, along with the recording, will be sent out in the next week following the event. Thank you for joining us today, and I would like to thank our partner organizations for sharing their insight. Please feel free to reach out to any of our speakers, as they're all happy to answer questions. As a reminder, please mark your calendars for CUB's next webinar, Small Business Energy Management 101, on October 1st from noon to 1. We will have speakers from the U.S. Green Building Council, Power Lines, and the Sustainable Business Council. And be sure to mark your calendars for the Upper Midwest Energy Forum on November 4th in La Crosse, where we will dive into the evolving energy landscape with energy professionals from across the Upper Midwest. We've designed this event to equip business leaders and professionals with the knowledge and strategies to navigate critical challenges in the evolving energy landscape. Attendees will leave with actionable solutions and insights to help guide their business decision-making and operations moving forward. Thanks for being with us this afternoon, and have a great rest of your day.